I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy, but with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
Life is a journey, and the Doherty Family College will help you get where you want to go. Located downtown Minneapolis, this affordable 2-year college provides free textbooks, a laptop, meals, career coaches, one-on-one mentorship, and a Metro Transit pass, making DFC the perfect pathway to a bachelor's degree. Turn your dreams into reality. Connect with a counselor today at dfc.stthomas.edu.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Unwanted sexting or photos, inappropriate jokes, even tickling or wrestling can feel like a violation. Catcalling, cornering, or groping, getting them drunk or high for sex, recording sexual acts without permission, hurting someone because of their sexual orientation, raping a family member, a child, a date, a friend, a stranger, purchasing a human being for sex. You make the choice every single time. Sexual violence is many things. Make a choice. Do not do it.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lulia. Cloudy skies overnight with a low of 68, and showers and thunderstorms possible on Saturday with a high of 82. Cafe Latte at Victoria Street and Grand Avenue in St. Paul provides an award-winning array of salads, sandwiches, and soups, treats from the bakery made fresh daily, and a pizza and wine bar. Check them out today at cafelatte.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, hitting cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanjahati, which means distant thunder. My colonized name is Robert Pilot, and we talk about and discuss, I guess that's the same thing, Native issues all over Turtle Island, and Native news and issues. And yesterday we had a comedian on, a television star, a writer. So we trust the whole gambit. But as you know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
This portion of the show is brought to you by the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 Hotline. Call them at 651-304-9986. They're open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. for your COVID-19 questions.
Ahoo.
Ahoo.
Ahoo. You're supposed to say ha.
Ha.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, we're just speaking a little ho-chunk here. We want to give a special shout out to our relatives in Madison and all over the Twin Cities. I was in Madison for a few days, and I love that town. I should say city, and it's a beautiful area out there. And then driving back to home in the freeway, I see all these wind gardens and sun panel gardens. It's a beautiful thing. Our progressive brothers and sisters out in Madison, I want to just give you a special shout out. Hey, we talk about news and what's happening, and we have our own reporter who talks about Native-centric news, Wendy, and that's Ogama with the news. Welcome, Ogama.
Hey, Anim Bonjour, everybody. I'm Ogama Ganuakwe. I am an enrolled member of the Red Lake Nation in northern Minnesota. And I like to think about myself as a water protector because I talk about what we can do for the climate and the planet right here where we live in Minnesota and the Midwest just about every day on the show. So I want to really uplift and remind people that tomorrow at 10 a.m. is the Treaty People Walk for Water that is starting at the Coffee Pot Landing in northern Minnesota, and they are going to be walking. A group of people, water protectors, are going to be walking to draw attention to stop the Line 3 pipeline in northern Minnesota. They're going to be walking from just north of the Mississippi headwaters, Itasca State Park, all the way down to the state capitol. It's going to take about 2 weeks. They are still looking for support for this. So if you have not yet, make sure that you are going to Camp Firelight Encampment on Facebook and checking out their events page. They have 2 links there where you can sign up to help to join as part of the walk. If you have a larger vehicle that you'd be willing to drive to help escort the walkers for a little while, I believe they still need some places to stay along the route. That group page also has the list of the cities that they will all stop at along the way. I'm really, really excited for this, and Native Roots Radio is going to have somebody up there for the event tomorrow as they kick off. And we hope to catch up with them again as well along the way.
Yeah, we have Devin, who's our former webmaster and big media Mongol, their media person who's going to be covering for Native Roots Radio. So we're excited to have her on the team, Ogama.
Yes, it is. It's going to be really great to have her on the team. And like I said, I'm hoping to catch up as we go along this walk as it comes through other parts of the state over the next 2 weeks. Just a reminder, if you're just tuning into Native Roots Radio and you don't know what Line 3 is a pipeline that is coming through northern Minnesota that is going to violate 21 different river crossings in Minnesota and hundreds of waterways. The walk that is happening, this Treaty People Walk, is going to be in the style of walks led by the American Indian Movement, also known as AIM. And they ask that you join in any way that you can. Join in the walk in solidarity, share, and remind people that they need to honor the treaties that were signed with Native people throughout not just Minnesota but the entire country. And speaking of treaty rights, what's happening right now with the Line 3 pipeline is that the White Earth Nation, which is a tribe again in northern Minnesota, have filed suit on behalf of wild rice, or Manoomin, which is the Ojibwe word for it. And they are filing on behalf of the rights of the wild rice. And the idea is that they believe, and they have had this happen in their tribal court in 2018, they granted legal personhood essentially to the wild rice and said that the wild rice has the right to flourish and to grow. And what's happening right now in Minnesota is that Minnesota is Minnesota's intentionally ignoring treaty rights of the Ojibwe, or also known as the Chippewa, treaties in northern Minnesota. So the lawsuit is different. It's one of the first of its kind in the United States, brought in tribal court on behalf of the rights of nature. So this is a recent kind of movement that's gaining momentum around the globe. And what it does is it treats nature and ecosystems as if they have their own rights rather than treating them as property, which is a fundamental belief for many Native tribes throughout the country as well. But what the really big problem that's happening here, the reason that this lawsuit came to fruition in the first place, is that the White Earth Band argues that letting Enbridge, the company who's constructing Line 3, Enbridge Energy, pump 5 billion gallons of groundwater out of Minnesota in their construction of the Line 3 oil pipeline is putting the wild rice at risk and violates the members' treaty rights, as they were not consulted about this. The crazy part about this is that Enbridge, initially during their permitting for the Line 3 pipeline, their initial permitting was only for, I think it was like 4.5 million gallons of water, something like that. And then they paid a $120 fee to the Minnesota DNR. And the Minnesota DNR was then able to grant them a permit for 5 billion gallons to pump shallow groundwater, which is 10 times more than it originally requested. And the original request was the water that was taken into account for the environmental impact statement. So the environmental impact statement that the state of Minnesota, the DNR, the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency is saying is upheld, is not being upheld now that the DNR has granted more water permits and the White Earth Nation is taking action. So that, yes, good for them. I'm so proud and so honored that they're willing to take that with us, take that step with us, with all of us here in Minnesota who are looking to stop Line 3. The culmination on that Treaty People Walk for the Water, again, that starts tomorrow at 10 a.m. at Coffee Pot Landing in northern Minnesota. That's just north of where Itasca State Park is. Will end on Wednesday, August 25th at about 2 p.m., where everybody's going to gather for the Treaties Not Tar Sands Capital Action to Stop Line 3 at the Minnesota State Capitol. And the last thing that I want to mention is that there's two ways to get involved. If you're in northern Minnesota in the Bemidji area, I'm told that the Water Protectors are going to have a boat in the Dragon Boat races on Lake Bemidji tomorrow. So that would be another cool way to see them if you can't get south to start with the water walk.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Wow. That's amazing. And it's also amazing that a foreign company can suck out 5 billion gallons of water out of our precious northern waterways. That's a travesty, and that should be definitely, everyone should be suing the DNR and whomever, it's crazy. Wendy.
Yeah, it is crazy. I want to give the walkers, all the people who are involved with the walkers, like really just, good luck, stay healthy, stay hydrated, and thank you for doing this. It's really a big commitment and really important that you're doing it. So just want to say
I just want to give them applause again. I think I startled Ogama when I pushed the applause button, but I'm going to do that again, give them some applause. Just have to use that machine once in a while. Hey, thank you again, Ogama Pinigigi, for all you do. And we're really excited to have Devin go up there for us for Native Roots Radio to cover this so we can blast it out on our Facebook page, what's happening, because it's very, very important information, what's happening. And, it's funny that you mentioned too, American Indian movement style, the longest walking for treaties they did in the 70s and 80s. And one of the people leading the walk is an Aimster. So Joe, we're going to give you a special shout out and some prayer and hopefully catch up on you during your route and interview you. You're listening to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and up next, Mary Kunesh will be.
Stay with us.
If the statistics say that 1 in 3 Native women and 1 in 6 Native men have experienced sexual assault in their lifetime, it means our whole community is affected by sexual violence. 1 is too many. Don't stand by, stand up. Don't engage in acts of sexual violence, and shut down the dirty jokes, the gossip, the victim blaming and shaming. As a community, we can change the way we respond. Contact the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition to attend a workshop to learn more. Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, Wendy, what are we doing for dinner after the show?
How about we go to J. Selby's on 169 Victoria Street in St. Paul? They have a delicious plant-based menu that's compassionate and environmentally sustainable.
I'm getting their spot-on vegan Big Mac, the dirty secret.
You can pick up and they deliver within a 5-mile radius, or you can call them at 651-222-3263 or visit jselbys.com.
Well, you sold me, Wen. Let's go order at J. Selby's tonight.
I'm hungry. Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Life is a journey, and the Doherty Family College will help you get where you want to go. Located downtown Minneapolis, this affordable 2-year college provides free textbooks, a laptop, meals, career coaches, one-on-one mentorship, and a Metro Transit pass, making DFC the perfect pathway to a bachelor's degree. Turn your dreams into reality. Connect with a counselor today at dfc.stthomas.edu.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
Hey, welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hare.
This portion of the show is brought to you by MN350, a grassroots organization fighting for climate justice.
Well, we had a chance to talk to Ogma, and I just want to give Lewis, our right-hand man here, a shout out, and maybe you can just say, tell us a little bit about your TikTok, and then we'll get to State Senator Mary Kunesh, who's our guest all the way out in California.
You washed it. It's weird to do that with an echo. But I want to say thank you to and hello to all our relatives that are listening. If you're interested in a lot of history, you can find me on TikTok at Lakota Guy on TikTok, as well as Native Roots Radio, which actually has a presence now on TikTok. Robert, we're getting the ball going slowly but surely.
Right, those duets really help out. Hey, now Peeny Gigi, for that, I just wanted to give you a quick shout out, Lewis. We have State Senator Mary Kunesh, who's in California right now, and we want to say ahu and welcome, and we're really always excited to have you on, and I know you're there on Family Matters, so I really appreciate you spending some time with us, because well, I think you've only missed one show in probably 3 years, so that was it. So welcome. Let me just quickly unmute you, because I have the control over that. And sure. I know once we get going here, Ogma has a quick question to ask you too, that I'll let her jump in. But welcome.
Thanks. I'm happy to take a break from the family and meet with you here today and see what's going on with all of you, and give you a little update on some of the things that are going on around Minnesota and in the legislature.
Perfect.
Yeah, we're ready to hear it, Mary. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Wendy?
We're doing pretty good. Yeah, we're hanging in
Nice to
there.
see you, Ogama and Lewis also. So I'm out here in beautiful California. I don't know if you can see behind me. I'm in the foothills of the Sierra Mountains. My brother lives here. I have a twin brother that quit high school and came out to California to be a whitewater rafter, and he's been here ever since. So unfortunately, his wife passed away this past January, and we weren't able to commemorate her then. So we're having a big celebration tomorrow. So lots of family from Minnesota are out here, and folks from all over the neighborhood are coming to help set things up, and it's going to be a really righteous celebration.
Wow.
Yeah, but sorry for your loss. It's
yeah,
definitely.
It's always tough to lose somebody, somebody that you think is gone before their time. But I've been here for 2 days, and we've just been reminiscing and remembering. She's got 2 young daughters. And just telling the stories, it's like she's here with us. So it's been fortunate.
Well, I thank you. One thing I want to get going here, Ogama and I talked a little bit before the show, and she has a really good question to ask you, and maybe it can help us understand the process that's happening here. I think elections are going to be in another roughly 400 days, which is really quick, but go ahead.
Who's counting?
Yeah.
Well, I was hoping you're counting. Good to see you and to talk to you. I was wondering if you could share with us a little bit about what we need to be doing to get ready for this next cycle of elections, what people can do to organize, if you know any kind of deadlines for people who might be interested in running for certain offices, what's actually up in this next round of elections. You're really, really good at demystifying the legislature, especially here in Minnesota. And I know that your knowledge is sometimes limited because different states do things differently. But here in Minnesota, what's the most important thing to start with? Have you started? What should we start with?
Well, one thing that folks should start doing is looking and thinking about if they want to run for an elected position within their communities, whether it's school board or city council or, at different levels throughout their community. Look for ways that you can use your talents and your skill to contribute to your community. Next November is an election year for all of our House members, all of our Senate members, and the governor here in Minnesota. And then, of course, some of the local municipal areas, as well as, Secretary of State and other positions like that. So take some time and think about how you can contribute to your community. And if you feel like you're not well represented, if the people that are making those decisions are not, making decisions that are in the best interest of your unique community and the people that are in there, then either consider running or finding somebody else to run and challenge those folks. One part that's a little hard, and this is nationally, is that now that the census has been completed and we don't have the actual numbers from the census, so we don't know the exact population, but each state is now going to have to redistrict their entire state for their entire Senate districts. So the federal level, the state level, we're going to have to draw some new lines depending on the population. And I'm so curious to see how things will change in Minnesota, because we did have quite an extraordinary turnout for our Native communities.
Mm-hmm.
And we probably had more people voting than ever before, especially up north. And that could make a huge difference in the population and the lines that are drawn during redistricting. So we don't have those numbers yet from the federal government. We're hoping to get them in September. And then like I'm on the redistricting committee, so we'll get together. We'll start looking at maps. We'll start looking at different line scenarios, district scenarios. And then the big problem will be to get both sides of the aisle to agree on one map, which has really never happened. Or if it did, it hasn't for a long time. So then it goes to the courts, and the courts decide on which map and where the lines are going to be drawn. It could mean that some senators or representatives will find themselves in a different district and now have to run in communities that they've never had to run in before for election. It could be that two state senators, depending where they live physically, could end up in the same district, and then those two senators would have to actually sort of campaign against each other. So what you can do now is start looking at who represents you and evaluating that. If you or somebody else that you could recruit, depending on their political affiliation, like here in Minnesota, we're the DFL. The Democrats are called DFL, Democrat Farmer Labor Union caucus. And we're looking for people who are willing to step up and challenge our GOP members or other members that maybe aren't doing the best job possible. They could contact, they could contact me. They could contact their Senate district committee person, and start looking for those elected officials that you really do like and you do appreciate them. Reach out to them and say, how can I help? Can I door knock? Can I send letters? Contribute to their campaigns, because they're never cheap. But just start getting yourself really well educated, I guess.
Mary, when you said that scenario, so September, hopefully the courts will have it figured, or is that when the Republican and Democrats are going about redistricting?
That's when we'll hopefully get the definitive numbers of the population numbers from the federal government. And then we have until February 14th, the middle of February, to get the map drawn.
Wow.
At that time, people will start to do their caucuses and find other way, start the whole election process by endorsements by your Senate district and running in caucuses and that sort of thing.
I has a question. Yeah.
Oh, I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, we only got a couple minutes left. Can you hold on till the next break, or is it a quick one?
I don't know that it's quick. It could probably hold on till the next break.
Cool. Well, that's interesting. I just got to let everyone know too, and we'll do it next break. Remember what you're going to say, Ogama. It's interesting too that your seat normally as a state senator is only usually 4 years, but you have to run after 2 years with this redistricting. That's just that's just so weird. I mean, does that happen every 10 years? Or
Every 10 years after the after the census come in, then everybody has to, because you don't know where those lines are going to be drawn,
Right.
and you don't know, like I said, if two senators are in the same district or any of that. So it's after we do the census every 10 years, and then the election year following the census, everybody has to run again.
Well, I'm really happy that I think with the census, at least the preliminary numbers, that we haven't lost a national seat. So I'm really happy
No.
about that. And really what you said about our native community, especially up in the deep north here, all the work that get people signed up for the census and also for the election this past election cycle. We are showing numbers up there, and that is going to be interesting to see what's happening, Mary.
Yeah, I can hardly wait to see the numbers, because I think it is going to make a significant difference. And because we haven't had that kind of turnout before, people haven't really paid attention to it. And it could make a huge difference. I'm really curious.
Stick with us. We're with State Senator Mary Kunesh of Minnesota. We'll be right back after this short break.
Stay with us.
Hey, Wendy, what are we doing for dinner after the show?
How about we go to J. Selby's on 169 Victoria Street in St. Paul? They have a delicious plant-based menu that's compassionate and environmentally sustainable.
I'm getting their spot-on vegan Big Mac, the dirty secret.
You can pick up and they deliver within a 5-mile radius, or you can call them at 651-222-3263 or visit jselbys.com.
Well, you sold me, Wen. Let's go order at J. Selby's tonight.
I'm hungry.
Hi, I'm Claire Ferreira, president and owner of Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, here to share some information about our 5 for 25 drive program. We ask customers to take 5 minutes to review their experience with us, and we donate $25 to a local nonprofit of their choice. So far, our 5 for 25 drive has raised close to $50,000. Thanks to all of you out there who've taken part in this ongoing program. Find out more about our 5 for 25 drive program at standardheating.com. That's standardheating.com.
If you're hurting in your relationship or have been affected by sexual violence, you're not alone. Strong Hearts Native Helpline can help you through these difficult and uncertain times. Strong Hearts Helpline is a free 24/7 confidential domestic dating and sexual violence helpline for Native Americans. Help is available by calling 1-844-762-8483 or by clicking on the Chat Now icon on strongheartshelpline.org. This message is sponsored by the National Indigenous Women's Resource Center.
Think your company's safe? Your staff is working from home, right? As I speak, cyber criminals are mounting attacks across the country. Remember, when we're weakest, cyber criminals attack. Hi, Mark Sommerfeld from Rymark. The Rymark team is guiding our clients through these difficult times. In fact, demand has been so high, we created an easy-to-follow guide. It's yours free. Download our 5 steps to securely work from home now at rymarkit.com or call 651-328-8900 for a no-cost how-to discussion.
Hi, Minnesota. Stephanie Miller here. Join me every weekday morning from 8 to 11 for a humorous look at politics and current events on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950. After the hailstorm last year, we had a number of people stop by the station letting us know we had damage. That's when I called our trusted contractor, Snap Construction. Turns out we didn't have any damage and our roof was still in good health. Ryan, is it common to hear you have damage when you don't?
Chad, this can happen more times than not. At Snap Construction, we'll give you a thorough assessment and let you know the condition of your roof. We are trusted by a number of insurance agents in the metro to give them just that, an honest assessment. Last year's storm is just starting to reveal damage on homes that didn't show damage last year. If you were in the path of a storm and were denied, it's worth an extra look. Freezing, thawing conditions and spring rains will wash away the damaged granules that are covering up damage from last year's storm.
Call Snap Construction, arguably the most well-reviewed exterior contractor in the metro area, at 612-333-SNAP, or find them online at snapconstruction.com.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lulia. Cloudy skies overnight with a low of 68, and showers and thunderstorms possible on Saturday with a high of 82. Next Chapter Booksellers in St. Paul is back open for in-person browsing. Let their experts find the perfect book for you no matter your taste. That's Next Chapter Booksellers, the corner of Snelling Avenue and Grand Avenue in St. Paul. More at nextchapterbooksellers.com.
Bijou, I am Oshawashko Gijig. I'm from Red Lake Nation, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
Oh.
I just love that.
So sweet.
That's
Oh my
Ogama's daughter.
Yeah, Ogama's daughter, Anna.
Yeah.
So cute.
Really?
Adorable.
Yeah. But we're not
Oh.
going to tell people that because they might steal her from us because that was a good intro. Hey,
Wait till I have a granddaughter and then I'll have her do this, okay?
right.
Sure.
And then we'll also, we're looking to get teeny weeny resist shirts for your little granddaughter.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We had a kind of a fun discussion in the background here in our own private chat. And I think maybe what I'll do is first hand it over to Ogama to ask you a question, and then to Lewis after that. And then me and
Sure.
Wendy will just chill out here.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ogama.
Sure. Yeah, so the question I had for Mary was a question around redistricting and like diversity in redistricting. So I'm imagining someplace like Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis, where there's maybe a district line drawn right through that, and that splits that voice to that community, and that makes it hard for them to organize and to have a more powerful voice, because that means they have now two different places that they have to have their voice go to. But the other bonus to that could also be that then they have two different places to get their voice to go to, and not just one district representative. So my question is it better to keep those kind of communities together, or is it better to make sure that the districts are very diverse? Or, what does the process for that look like while you're on the committee? What kind of things are taken into account with that?
Sure, that's a really good question. So what your political party does, like the GOP or the DFL does, is they create a piece of legislation, and it's called redistricting principles. And it's basically laying out all of the unique community or statewide things to take into consideration when we're drawing the lines. And so unique communities like our reservations, like our urban Indian communities, we have large areas of our state with our Hmong and our Somali and our Latino communities. And we don't really want to split them up, because that means that, let's say, one side of the district might have a legislator that's really actively working for that side, and the other side has somebody that doesn't. An example is last time, 10 years ago, when we did this redistricting, I was on a community group that would go in and review some of the maps that they drew, like the preliminary maps, to see if we saw anything really unique. And exactly what you explained. In Minneapolis, we have the largest urban community of natives called Little Earth, and they had drawn a line right down the middle of that community that split them in half. And the residential area was on one side of that line, and the community center where they actually vote was on the other side of the line. And I was like, wait, you guys, you can't do that. And they had no idea, because they didn't understand the uniqueness of that community. So, of course, that didn't happen. But we always also have to take into consideration, like, are there huge bodies of water where if we included that huge body of water, would people have to travel really far to get to the poles? Or, just really a lot of different unique characteristics of the map. So we're pretty careful and we're pretty intentional about how we're going to be drawing those maps. There is a Senate redistricting meeting this coming Monday. I believe it starts at 10 o'clock at the Bemidji City Council or City Center. So if anybody up in that neck of the woods wants to go and listen and ask questions, that's what it's there for, the community to come and ask those questions.
Hey, we got Lewis is going to ask you a question after my question here. But Tricia Zunker was beaten Wisconsin really bad. And everyone talks about gerrymandering. When this takes place? Is this when powerful House or Senate making these decisions? Is this when this gerrymandering takes place?
Yep, this is when it would happen. If you have a state that is not split like Minnesota is, where the House has the majority Dems, the Senate has the majority GOP, and then we have a Dem governor. But if you had like all GOP or all Democrat, they could easily draw the lines the way they wanted to in order to ensure that they have the strength in all of the different districts. But, we've been able to prevent that in Minnesota as best we can. There are some districts that look like they maybe are top heavy one way or the other. But when you look at the population, I think Minnesota's done a pretty good job.
So the House and Senate agree on these districts? Is that
they're supposed to, but they don't. We don't. So then it goes to the courts. There's some judges that are set up in place, and they look at all of the maps and the population, and then they draw the maps, and then that's usually what we've been doing the last times around.
So does that mean that the split House and Senate in Minnesota right now is actually a little bit of a benefit because it kind of limits that gerrymandering, since it'll likely have to go to the court anyway? Could that technically be seen as a benefit?
No, we want the Democrats to gerrymander.
No, don't say that, Robert.
No,
we don't want any gerrymandering.
Yes,
we want
that's-
fair and representation across the board. You know that.
And I feel like the court gives that as the best option when we have the split House. But if we had all Democrats or all GOP, then it might look different. So I mean, I guess in my mind, I'm seeing this as like a little teeny benefit, even though I know it's been super frustrating for people who are in office on either side right now.
It is, unless those judges that are in, the courts, court judges are, the majority one way or the other and have a bias. So we just have to continue to make sure we have balance in our government, to hold each other accountable and to keep things fair and open, transparent.
Lewis had a question too. Lewis,
Sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Redistricting is both scary and an opportunity at the same time, considering how COVID has completely change a lot of people's perspective on work from home and where they live. And you have a lot of blue people living in red districts and red district people living in blue district. But my main concern, Senator, is party platform. And, the DFL has historically been a big tent party regarding not only just, liberals, but labor movements like, the Iron Range, as well as everyone else. And I know caucusing has been a big part of our DFL experience when we think about the Latino caucus, these African American caucus. I'm wondering your thought with Ken Martin and his strategy with the Native American caucus, and how do we, those that don't want to run for office but want to actually ensure that our party platform is pro-Indigenous and we don't just have people just say talk the talk, we want people to walk the walk. How do we influence and charter party platform with the DFL in a Native American caucus? How has that been with Ken Martin?
Well, I think it's evolving. I think it was not so strong in the beginning, but as I always say, representation matters. If you don't have people that are explaining the issues, the Native, issues that affect our Native communities, if there's not somebody advocating or making the noise, or if there isn't a Native American caucus, then, nobody listens to that. Nobody thinks about that. And last time around, the DFL did put together, the Native American caucus. I feel like it's a good, strong caucus right now, and you can certainly join it and contribute to it as a member, talking about the issues that are at hand. But then you also have to let Ken Martin and your representatives know what those issues are that you feel so strongly about. We are fighting against Line 3. And if all of these people hadn't stood up and made the noise and pushed back, Enbridge they'd be done by now. They'd have finished long ago, and all that crap would be running through those pipes. If I hadn't been elected, or Jamie Becker Finn, or Susan Allen, or Peggy Flanagan, Heather Keeler, if we weren't at the Capitol, all the things that we have done in the last 5 years around Native issues would not have gotten done, because there's nobody there to bring it up and educate and fight and lobby for it. So I think that as a Native caucus within the DFL, we need to stand up and really make some noise and be heard, and put a lot of good candidates out there to run for office, and just say, we're here, we're not leaving, and we got a lot of issues to work on, and either you're with us or you're against us, but one way or the other, we're going to keep this work going.
And that's why we love having you on, and love having you be our state senator, Wendy.
Oh, absolutely. You're pumping a lot of people up. I could hear
Good.
their brains going that they're going to be getting in touch with their representatives, and they're going to get involved. I just know it.
Is there a website or a way we can get a hold of if a young Native woman or any progressive woman wants to run? Is there? I think Ogama did ask you that, if there's a site or something out there that we can.
There is an organization for pro-choice women. It's called Women Winning. But I know that as we get closer and people get more organized, there will be more opportunities for training. And like within our Senate district, within our Senate caucus, we are already starting to look at the different districts, looking for folks that want to run. And I'm also on part of the campaign committee. So if folks want to reach out to me, we can start getting them on the list, and those that are assigned to that area of the state, we can pass that on, and they'll contact, or you can contact me, and we'll make sure that we're getting you the answers that you need, and then also hopefully getting you some support as you go forward.
Wow, excellent. It's always excellent to have you on, State Senator. We're really blessed to have you here in Minnesota. And all you people listening to the show around Turtle Island, I hope State Senator Mary Kunesh is an inspiration to you also. Hey, you're listening to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and we'll be back.
Stay with us. And also, I just
Bye,
want to
everyone.
say, hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN 350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN 350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN 350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN 350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
This is Winona LaDuke of Honor the Earth, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio. I'm Awake.
We are Halusa Nation.
Hey, welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade.
Say, Mary, we just wanted to say before you leave that we're wishing you a blessed time with your family for the memorial for your sister-in-law. We just want to mention that. And then this portion of the show is brought to you by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition. And it's also brought to you by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations. Oh, we got a clapping and a howl. Awesome.
All right. All right. Hey, it's just us now. I feel pretty cool. Lewis, this is the time where Wendy does her animal section and sacred animal. And it's Fun Friday, though. So, Wendy.
Yeah, some fun facts.
Why don't you tell us who you are and maybe a little bit about yourself for people just tuning in.
Yeah, sure.
Tuning in.
Hello, everybody. My name is Hanaji Hihani, and that means cares for them. And I was given that name by my Dega, Curtis, which means uncle. Dega, that means uncle.
Curtis doesn't mean uncle?
And Curtis
What
is
language
native.
are you speaking?
I know, right? This is just a prelude of what I'm going to be talking about. You know, the other day, what word couldn't I say? I say it, presumably. Like I say that word all the time, and like last week I couldn't say that word on the radio. It's the weirdest thing. So tune in, everybody, and listen. Stay tuned and listen in on which word I won't be able to say today.
I had some voiceover work to do, and I could not say, Lewis, what couldn't I say?
Regularly.
It's still having problems.
It
So
really
Lewis,
is.
thank you.
It's the craziest thing. It happens to me almost every week.
I just can't talk.
I am a humane policy volunteer leader for the Humane Society of the United States. I work on animal issues at the local and state level, and it's my pleasure every day here, to talk about animals a few times a week. It really makes me happy. But
Well, it's also been a long time since you and I did a show together face to face.
I know,
we used to do.
you've
So
been
it's
away.
It's
Yeah.
a little weird to be looking at nothing and usually looking at you and getting a cue going, hey, I ain't got nothing. Wendy, say something. I ain't got nothing.
Exactly.
Say
I
something.
know. It's hard. And here's the other thing that I do all the time. So during the week, I'm reading articles about animals and I'm picking out what I want to talk about, and I'll save some of the articles, and some I won't. Sometimes I'll talk about those specific articles on the air, and other ones I kind of just put in my back pocket for another time. But sometimes doing that, I don't remember what I talked about on the radio or not. So this might be a repeat. I don't know. It
If
might
it's
be.
Fun Friday,
But
it's
Fun
worth
Friday,
the
so
repeat.
that might be. So I have, I remember I think I was talking about bears and the hibernation, and like this is the time of year in August, even though, it feels like because it's 86 degrees that we're still in the middle of the summer, that bears are starting to hibernate now. So they're gathering a lot of food.
Wow.
Yeah, they're gathering a lot of food. So right before they hibernate, bears load up on food, eating up to 20,000 calories a day and gaining as much as 30 pounds a week. If you're watching us on Facebook, we have Yogi Bear up
Hey,
there.
boo-boo, go get some picnic baskets.
But could you believe gaining as much as 30 pounds a week? That's crazy.
Am I part bear? Is that what I'm
bears mate in late spring and early summer, and the fertilized egg will undergo a delayed development and remain in the female bear's womb for weeks or months. If she hasn't accumulated enough fat during hibernation time, the egg will spontaneously abort. So if she's hibernating and she doesn't have enough fat on her body, the egg won't become anything. Baby bears are born in the winter during hibernation and are nursed in the den until they emerge in the spring. I didn't know that.
Wow.
So while the mom's sleepy and she's sleeping, she's having babies.
Louis, what clan are you?
In Lakotas, we really don't have clans. We have families.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'm Eagle Clan, and I know there's Bear Clan, and Bear Clan and Ho Chunk are our warriors, our security.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad you brought that up.
interesting.
Hibernate
Yeah.
clan.
So, yeah. And while a bear is hibernating, the bear's heart rate drops to as low as 8 beats per minute. That's like barely beating.
Oh, I got what you did there. Barely beating bears. Wow.
Tongue Twister Tuesday.
I just tried to sneak that one in.
What's that, Louis?
Tongue Twister Tuesday, right? That's what it is.
Yeah.
Exactly. Bears sleep in dens that they dig out in hollowed out tree cavities, under logs or rocks, caves, banks, and shallow depressions. And that's where they make their dens. When they emerge, they are in a state called walking hibernation for 2 to 3 weeks while their metabolic process adjusts to normal levels, and they do not eat or drink much at all during this time. So those are pretty fun facts.
Kind of like they're in their own little treatment center,
Right.
little Hazel
They're walking around like, they're
zombies.
like drunk bears walking through the forest.
Get some picnic basket.
I know. I have another article here. It's called 5 Cool Facts About Bears. I'll probably just get to a couple here because we're running out of time. But bears have...
Lori says good bear info, Wendy.
I know it is.
That's
And
awesome.
a lot of that I didn't know. Like I didn't know that a female bear gave birth during in winter during the hibernation. If the little bears stay in there until springtime, and then they emerge from the hibernation cave or wherever they are. I didn't know that. I'm very surprised about that. But while
Educating yourself, that's awesome.
But while it's easy to think of bears as fluffy, cuddly monsters, there's a lot more that meets the eye. A polar bear's coat is made up of 2 unique layers. The shorter coat provides insulation from weather, while the longer coat prevents water from reaching the short coat layer and the skin. And each layer serves a unique purpose and allows bears to thrive in the frigid conditions. And I didn't know this, but polar bears are the biggest bears out of all the bear species.
I didn't remember that the A&W bear was a bear until
Grizzly bears, adult grizzly bears can run up to an incredible 40 miles an hour, which is the same pace as a greyhound, and would actually break the speed limit on many roads in the U.S. So
wait, say that again.
An adult.
Wait. Go ahead.
An adult grizzly bear can run up to an incredible 40 miles per hour, which is the same pace as a greyhound, and would actually break the speed limit on many roads in the U.S.
So what you're saying is a grizzly, if he wants to eat you, he'll chase you down and eat you, no prob.
And run 40 miles an hour.
Yeah. Well, I can't run
That's
40
fast.
miles an hour, so he'll catch me.
So this is what I said before. Polar bears are the largest of all the bear species. It can weigh up to 900 to 1,500 pounds and grow approximately 6 to 10 feet long. That's crazy. So, but
Good segment. Here, let me use the applause again. I love that button.
I know.
Wow. You know, one, do you have any 10-second one? Because this has just been overwhelming and then the show's
Yes,
over.
I do. Bears can walk a short distance on their hind legs, which has led some Native Americans to refer to them as the beast that walks like man.
Like this guy. Look at Wendy.
Yeah.
Look at the screen real
I know,
quick.
but the A&W Bear. I didn't even know about the A&W Bear. Is that like a
You're
Minnesota
from New York,
thing?
you know. You didn't grow up with that.
I know.
Hey, I think that's awesome, Peeny Gigi, for those fun facts.
Mhm.
I would like to end with these thoughts. Native Americans were not homeless until 1491. If you're listening to this show, you are part of the resistance. From Chief Plenty Coops, the ground on which we stand on is sacred ground. It is the blood of our ancestors. We need to resist, divest, join a group, or run for office. Peeny Gigi to State Senator Mary Kunesh, Ogama for the news, Lewis for helping out and all around, and a few chuckles there on the screen, and Wendy for her sacred animal section. We're still here. We are the 7th generation.
Free Leonard Peltier. Stop line 3. Please get vaccinated.
Seward Co-op is now offering convenient self-serve and prepackaged hot options and salad bars at both the Franklin and Friendship